What's good, Miami sports fans? Happy Friday to everybody. Welcome back to the Miami Sports Break. David Eversole, joined as always by my partner, Jakari Givens. Before we jump into the mix today, I want to mention one of our awesome sponsors of the Miami Sports Break and 5 Reasons Sports, La Terrain Watches. You can check them out at la-terrain.com. Make sure to use promo code 5RSN for 10% off. They got styles for all occasions, different price ranges, something for everybody there at La Terrain. So make sure you check them out. Supporting our sponsors obviously supports us as well, so we appreciate it. So what's good, my man? How you doing there, Jock?
Everything is great, man. Ready to talk some Canes, ready to talk the Dolphins, both coming off tumultuous weeks. I think they have both have a great opportunity to rebound this upcoming week.
Yeah, I agree. This Raiders game is going to be interesting to me. I'm not going to dwell too much on the Hurricanes and looking at that game on Saturday versus what is it, Central Connecticut State, I believe. So you should pretty much chalk that up to a victory for the Hurricanes, no matter who's going to be under center, whether it's TVD and Jake Garcia splitting time. What's going on, Cat for Life? Thanks for joining us as always, man. Appreciate it. So I think the Hurricanes game is pretty much going to be a done deal. But I'm excited about this Dolphins game. But how do you think Manny's going to have the team prepared on Saturday? I guess we'll start with the Canes for a few minutes first. So you think they're going to come out and just show 60 minutes of effort and really just put the hammer down? Or do you think they're just
They
going to
have
tread
no
water
choice.
like they did against App State?
They have no choice. If they will fire him if that team comes out and struggles with that team. So it has been rumblings that King may be done for the year. I actually think that may be probably the best thing for the program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want King back, even if he's done for the year. No medical pressure, because no. It's time for him to move on,
Yeah.
and it's time for the Hurricanes to move on, especially with the incoming freshman Jakari Brown coming in. Jakari Brown coming in from Georgia. Kid is, highly touted. It'll be an interesting position battle. But I'm interested to see how Jake and TVD play. I want them to get some great reps until we get into ACC play if King is done for the season. I think that Jake's probably the better passer out of the two. TVD is the better athlete, but it's to be seen. But they should come out. This should be a 50 or 60 to nothing win, 62-7 type game for the Hurricanes because they need to pile it on these people right before ACC play.
Yeah, they need to get right game because obviously after that they have Virginia, which is going to be another big test. And the state of the Miami program is there's no easy games anymore. Obviously, we think they're going to pretty much run the game on Saturday, but you're really looking ahead. Obviously, you just want to see them execute, not make too many mistakes, stay relatively healthy. That's really all you're looking for. And I think just starting well early is going to be
This will
key.
be a good game for all the young kids to get their feet
Mm-hmm.
wet and stuff like that. They haven't really had that tune-up game to
Right.
do that. You started with Alabama, App State. Then you come back with
Michigan
Michigan
State.
State. So
Yeah.
you haven't had that game, so they need it so they can get the ground rolling. But I'm interested to see how the tandem works. With Avante Williams is back at practice this week. Um, so I'm just interested to see how the safety position works out. Gervin Hall had a little bit of moment that it's
We'll
embarrassing.
live on forever, that one.
So we'll see how James Williams, Kamar Kitchens, and Bubba Bolden how they respond because they're going to get a lot of playing time back there. So just an interesting feat this week.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a pretty sparse crowd there as well this weekend. So just there's a bad vibe around the program now. So I just think seeing them get a big, easy win will hopefully just calm the wolves at least for a week and let the program settle down a little bit before the real meat of the schedule. And, the cliche machine that Manny Diaz is, everything is still in play for the Hurricanes.
Like
They
I
still have the
like
ACC.
I said earlier this week, um, like Diaz, if I was a player, I would have quit on him already. For you to go to the press conference and say, "Oh, we have too many guys looking at De'Aaron King," and it's like your quarter, like he just turned the ball over 4 times. So I don't get what you're saying in that motion. So that's kind of was a disrespectful quote to me to the team into the program saying like, "Hey, De'Aaron King, there's too many guys not playing as hard as him and all that." Like, no, that
But he's
makes no
not playing
sense.
well. I mean, they're not playing well, and the receivers aren't playing well. The upperclassmen aren't playing well. So I think you got to let the young guys get out there. Will Mallory's dropping touchdowns. Let Arroyo get some run at the tight
Nah,
end one. Yeah,
Will Mallory is not getting featured, and I
but he's
said in
got
the
to catch the
chat,
ball when he does get the
like
opportunity. I
like I
mean,
said in the
catch the
chat,
ball.
when we were arguing and going back and forth. Hey, what you guys, you guys can subscribe to our chat, man. It's the Canes chat is very fun. If you want a little insight, we'll go ahead and give you guys insight sometimes. But um, I said in the chat that a receiver or a tight end catching the ball is like a point guard in football. I mean, in basketball, you have to create a rhythm to the game, right? Rambo had like 20 targets. He had like 12 or 13 catches. It's the same. Like you're throwing a guy the ball, maybe in 3 games he's probably had 12 or 15 targets,
Yeah,
right?
it is up and down with his
Now and
his
then you throw him.
involvement for sure.
Yes, should he catch that ball? Yes, he should because he's a very talented guy. But I don't like I said, it's just like a guy with rhythm in basketball. He doesn't have a catch rhythm right now. And it's
Yeah.
I know like
And I was gonna say the quarterback doesn't have a rhythm either. So I think the whole offense is out of sync, and the lack of a running game has really hurt the Hurricanes. And De'Aaron King was obviously not 100% physically as well. So those things kind of all added up to what you saw against Michigan State. And Michigan State was just the better team. They pushed Miami around. The running back was more physical. They broke tackles. I mean, but Miami can't tackle week after
that
week.
running back, Michigan State is going to play in the NFL, and
Yeah.
he's battling to be the top back in the country. To me, like in the draft wise, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes about second or third round. Kid's very impressive.
Yeah, no, and I think the Hurricanes just need to focus, come out, play a clean game, get the win, and move on and get into that ACC schedule. But the big game, I think, obviously for everybody, is going to be on Sunday with the Dolphins traveling out to Vegas to face the Raiders, 4 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday. So it's an interesting game. I think the line was only 4.5 points for the Dolphins, which home team typically gets three off the jump. So Vegas sees Miami being competitive in this game. You figure after just getting taken behind the woodshed against Buffalo that they're going to come back with a much better effort against the Raiders. But the Raiders are 2-0. They played two pretty impressive games. They beat up on the Steelers, who subsequently before beat up on the Bills. So it's going to be a good test for the Dolphins, and they're going to have some matchup problems. So, what do you think are some of the keys for the Dolphins to try to steal one out west?
Well, I think the Dolphins are gonna win this game. I've been saying this all week. I think it's gonna just be a defensive performance. I know the world seems like to crash and down and burn. It's a week to week thing. This is how guys like us make our money. With the debate topics, oh, is this guy the guy? What's going on in Miami? It's a week. It's just a bad game, and it happens. It's rare it happens in the NFL. You get shut out, but they did. Offense didn't look good. Defense didn't look good. So I think it's a rebound game for them. I think this is a great matchup for them because they're going to be able to double Waller, and they'll be able to just play man to man on the outside with Howard and Byron Jones.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's not.
curious to see who do you think is going to line up with Ruggs. I think it's going to be the a little bit faster
I
Jones
don't
on
think
Ruggs,
I don't think
or they're just
Ruggs
going
is
to.
as big as a threat as people are trying to make him. Their quarterback does not throw the ball downfield. That's not his game. It's not what he wants to do. So that Ruggs having is an anomaly. You look at the first game of the year, he didn't get his first reception to the fourth quarter, right? So I'm not really scared of Ruggs. I'm not scared of no receivers on that roster. So I think the Dolphins corners are going to be able to earn their money. I think that all the Dolphins have to do, to be honest, is to score 20 points. Whether it's defense, punt return, kick return, whatever it is, they need 20 points because I think they can hold the Raiders to under 17 points. And
That's interesting.
I think the Dolphins probably win this game 21-17, somewhere around that notion. I think it's going to be a defensive battle more so if Tua would have been healthy, I think they would have, lit the Raiders up. But I think they win this game. Very a close game, 21-17. But I think the offense, I think it's just going to be an all around great performance, a rebound performance. This is the NFL. Normally, when teams look bad in 1 week, unless they're a really bad team, they come back and look great the second week. So, um,
Yeah,
look at
I
Buffalo,
agree.
for instance, with the Steelers. They looked bad, like terrible. They come out of Miami and they come. So I think Miami will be locked down. I think Austin Jackson will play better. Um, I think the O line will be better in general. I think they'll play a lot better. And I just think Miami's going to come. I think Jalen Waddle is going to give us that game that we're looking for.
Yeah. We'll get into that question in a minute because obviously that's kind of the elephant in the room with everything going on with Tua. But no, I think that Miami's going to make the Raiders try to run the ball against them. They're going to take away, like you said, Waller, and they're going to try to scheme Ruggs and whatever. And Miami can match up one on one on the outside with anybody in the league, I think, across the board. So Waller is going to be the X factor. And if Vegas can't run the ball in early downs and get in third and long situations, I think Derek Carr, who's been better about it this season, but he has been known in his career to be a little bit turnover prone from time to time. So I think you could force him into mistakes, but you got to have a pass rush. I mean, Jalen Phillips at some point has to get his
He
name called out there.
he hasn't been bad in his rushes. I just think people don't see it.
Yeah.
The only thing wrong with his game, he has to take the stuttering stuff that he does at when he's rushing the passer. It hurts him. But I think in other words, I think Jalen Phillips. Like I said, I think Miami's gonna get a big game from one of the rookies, either Javon Holland. I think Jalen
Hmm.
Waller gives us that touchdown in the punt return game. And I think Javon Holland has an interception. And I think we see Jalen Phillips gives a couple of pressures with them.
We need a pass rush though. We got to put some pressure on Carr. Can't just sit back there and pick apart the defense with the intermediary stuff. Like you said, he likes to work the middle of the field, the short routes to those guys, and get in the ball in space quickly, so then they can turn on the Jets and make a play out of it. So I think for Miami on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive lines are going to be key because that Raiders pass rush has been pretty nasty. So what do you think about the Dolphins' offensive line matching up? And then we'll, before we wrap up, we'll touch on Tua a little bit.
Um, like I said, I think they're gonna play better. It's just about finding the right combination. Um, you don't get rid of, you got rid of Laramie Tunsil, who's a great tackle in the league. Yes, you got an overhaul for him, but you haven't been able to replace that yet. So, I just think Austin Jackson's young. His problem is his playing strength, right? He
Mm-hmm.
can't. He has weak playing strength, and it hurts him, right? So, but he's okay. He's not gonna, like I said. I think he still has time to get better. He's still a young kid, and I just think they just have to find the right combination. And to be honest, if you want to solve your issues quickly, you go out, you call the line, say, "Hey Decker, what do you
Mm-hmm.
want from him?" And you
Yeah,
solve the issues quicker.
that's been
And
the hot name, and you can move Eichenberg around too. I
yeah,
think you could give
Eichenberg.
him a
No,
shot at the
no,
left
but
tackle spot as well.
the thing with Eichenberg that's scaring me is that he's moving around too much. I think he needs
Yeah,
to
I
settle
agree.
to one position and find continuity across the offensive line. Dieter has played okay. Kinley hasn't been that great, but you
Yeah,
know,
Kinley and Hunt have been a little bit of a disappointment. I
yeah.
expected more out of those guys in the
And
middle.
like I tell people, it's easy to say like, "Oh, we should have drafted X, Y, and Z." Like, no, nobody expected the O line to regress this year, right?
Right.
We didn't expect to see them in 2 games regress, right? So, what is going to be interesting to see is how those guys respond to this adversity, right? How
Mm-hmm.
do you respond to that? So, I personally, from what I've seen in the past from a Brian Flores coach team, um, they always respond, right? We got that game
Yep.
against Denver, then we came back and we looked good the next week. So that's what I think is gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to maybe predict a win, but I think it's going to be a much better game for the Dolphins. So, I think we're going to be much more competitive early and not get taken out of our game plan. So, before we go, what do you think about Tua? Obviously, he's going to be out for this game, and maybe looking forward to another couple of weeks. So, I think the Dolphins are going to probably be conservative with him, depending on how Brissett plays in this next week or two. That might change things a little bit. But I think you've got to just let his body heal and may look ahead of that Tampa Bay game in 3 weeks before you bring him back. So, what do you think about Tua so far, and about some of the criticism he's had, and where he's at early this season?
It really shouldn't be any criticism because I don't give a damn who back there throwing the damn ball. The offensive line is not protecting them, so it doesn't matter. You can have guy. You can have you. We seen in the Super Bowl, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. You've seen what happens when you don't get protected, right? Tua if Tua's protected, right? He's gonna throw for 30 plus touchdowns. It protected, but right now protection has been an issue. So like I said, I'm not selling the boat on Tua. Obviously, I know we're hearing the Deshaun Watson stuff. Yes, I would trade for Deshaun Watson from a pure football standpoint. Yes, you trade for Deshaun Watson because you can't find a top 5 quarterback hanging off the tree every year, right? Yes, from a pure football standpoint, but he has other things going on. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
We can't
part of the picture.
control
Yeah,
that.
you got to
We
take it all
can't
into
control that.
consideration.
But if it was a clean slate, yes, you make the deal. Not because Tua is a bad quarterback. It's because Tua is Deshaun Watson is what we know. We know he's a top 5 guy. I think Tua is okay. I think he's a great quarterback. He's a great player. I just think the Dolphins, the fans have to be like, you have to relax sometimes.
Yeah, I
Everything,
think a little bit of patience. I mean,
yeah,
the guy is.
and it goes back to what I tell people all the time, right? You know, they give up on players because it's a business, but sometimes it's not nothing that they're doing. They're just not ready. Some of these guys are just not ready. It's not that they're bad players. Some of those guys are just not ready, and some of them are in bad systems and bad
Yeah.
situations. But when you're not ready, what can you do? You're not ready. You look at guys who pick up in later on in their career. Like you look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench for 3 years. Got in, he was ready because he was able to adjust to the game. So
Mhm.
some of the stuff is
Mahomes was behind Alex Smith
for a year. Some
for
of
a year.
those
I mean, there was
things
that
is
year of
just,
just watching.
yeah, you just have to grow with it, and I think you have to be patient. Tua went Tua led the Dolphins last year. They went 10-6, right? Okay. Now we're looking at if Tua wins, if the Dolphins win 12 games this year and Tua throws for say 26 touchdowns and 3 picks, are you guys satisfied? Like I don't understand what you want out of him. What is he not doing? He wins.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not the flashiest of numbers, but the offensive coordinator was bad last year. Let's see what happens this year.
You
Tua
got to give him
is
a whole season. You have to
this is the
give him a
whole
whole
season.
season
So
before you really
the
judge.
at the end of this year, if you feel like, well, hey, this guy's not going to get any better, okay, you pull the trigger for Watson because we'll been to have you'll have a clear understanding in 2022 of what Watson is going to be, right? But it's just these guys are not ready. It's the same thing with Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogany. They're not ready right now, right? They're playing, but they're not ready. So
Yeah, and people wanted him to be ready. Expectations were very high, obviously, after last season, and you're looking for that big jump with Flores and with Tua now firmly entrenched as the starting quarterback. But I think the schedule is going to be pretty favorable for Miami as they move through the season, and they can get right in the second half and be competitive in the AFC East. And a wild card was my expectation for this team. I think it's unrealistic to put them in the division. Obviously, with Buffalo, you look what they did to them last week. Miami and Buffalo are pretty far apart as it looks right now. They could close that gap as the season goes on, but I think all hope is not lost for the Dolphins at all. So I'm encouraged to see how they come out early on Sunday with Brissett under center. He's a stable veteran quarterback. He's been a starting quarterback in this league, and I think he can get you a win out of Vegas for sure. But we'll have a lot of coverage over the weekend throughout the network. 3 yards per carry, 5 Reasons Sports, the extra yard. We got a lot of coverage across the board. So make sure you follow us. And before we go, where can everybody find you, Jock?
King Jock 24.
You can follow me at David W. Eversole. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.